Hey guys, welcome back. It is Saturday and it's time for self-care. Okay, so this is a series I've started. We're going to go through this workbook together so that we can figure out ways on how to give ourselves self-love, self-care, what self-love is, and how we can do it in little ways when we don't really have the time to do it. But realize that, it only takes the little things that get us back to our happy place. So this is the first day. Most of these will be a few minutes. Once I get the interest up in it, I will be going live on Saturdays or at least once a week to go through this workbook so you guys can ask questions in real time. But for right now, we're going to do these recordings and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to do one of these pages today so that you guys can get a feel on what it is. The link for this will be in the description as well. It's on Amazon for about $10. They have different versions, but we'll go through the original version. All right, so come on guys, let's go. All right, so self-love workbook for women. It's basically a workbook that has different exercises, different quizzes, different things and ideas, practices, so that you can get in a better space mentally, so that you have different resources. And we go through day-to-day life and sometimes we're just going through the day and then we realize we're burnt out, overwhelmed, and we don't have these everything that we're doing is not working. Well, it's because we're not trying to do different things. We're not taking time to get 5-10 minutes out of our day. So there was one thing that I wanted to start with in this workbook, and if you can go grab it from Amazon so that you can follow with me weekly, that would be great, because then you can have it right there to write down with you. There's going to be a lot of filling in. I have a lot of stuff filled in. I haven't yet done the entire book, but there's a lot of cool things, and some things may not necessarily be for you, or maybe you'll find them, I feel like I'm actually working, but and then there's other things that will just hit you and say, oh my God, I needed that. And none of them are long, or none of them really have to be long. You can go through this book at your own pace. I've had this for 2 years now, and I just kind of get in there. Sometimes when I'm just having an overwhelming day, I go and I just open the book and I just, start reading. Like, look what I opened to. Self-doubt quiz. So with this, it says complete this quiz to see how self-doubt may have limited your life. Give yourself 10 points for every answer of true. First one says, I do not like to try something new unless I'm good at it. And so basically the biggest thing I really like about this book is the fact that, one, it does have a lot of different exercises. Two, it gets you thinking about stuff that, you may not have been aware of. It makes you aware of stuff. It makes you, or if you are self-aware, it gives you things ways to talk it out with yourself, so that you can kind of like maybe pinpoint triggers, or how to work through these triggers, or how to just let yourself know that it is okay, and you are not alone. So one thing, actually I'm gonna go through 2 things today really quick though, so hang with me, please hang with me, because I promise you guys this is really helpful. 5 positive messages. I really liked this exercise because it forced you to write positive messages about yourself. So I won't read the whole instructions. We'll do more like that type of thing on lives, but it basically says in this space provided, identify 5 positive messages about yourself that you have received from others. These may have helped you feel more confident or worthy, not necessarily that you believed in them. But I think this is important because some of the words that we hear from other people, they can supersede kind of like the negative thoughts that we have in our mind. We may not like our voice on camera, but if you hear somebody else say, oh my God, I love your voice, then guess what? You're going to start thinking a little differently, like, oh, okay, maybe my voice doesn't sound as irritating as maybe I thought. Or speaking your voice, hearing it with your own ears inside of your head, it sounds different than what somebody else may hear, or what you may even hear once you see yourself on the video camera recording whatever it is that you may be doing. Whether or not you record or do anything like that, your inner voice sounds different than when it's spoken out loud, if that makes sense. So anyway, one of the things that I have was I'm determined and someone to look up to. So that feels really good because my whole purpose is to be somebody that people can look up to learn from the things that I've learned from, to help them to be to motivate them, to inspire, to let them know that you can do it. You can get through this no matter how tough the situation. And if it is a even tougher situation, there are things that you can do within that storm in order to maintain your joy. So that's really super important. And so just as anything else, like affirmations and such, when you read over them, or when you continue to practice those things versus the negative thoughts, that is very helpful. I do know that it's hard to stop those negative thoughts in your head. Actually been proven scientifically that positive thoughts are harder to not necessarily come up with, but to practice saying, because negative just comes. It's like our instinct to do that. So the one thing that I do want to cover today, and then we'll be done for the day with this video, is hurdles to loving yourself. And the reason why I like this is 1 through 5, we were supposed to put down faulty messages that society will have us believe. So when we look at society, we look at Instagram, we look at even, before we have social media, like, models are supposed to be super skinny, or women are supposed to be this, or men are supposed to be that. Like, I liked this because it really had me write down the views and the messages that I still have in my head that maybe subconsciously I still think of. We like to think that we have moved forward as a society as far as like, not feeling bogged down by having to be a certain color, having to be a certain size, having to wear certain clothes, yada yada. But we still have some of that ingrained in our head, especially if you were born pre this whole new movement. So I'm just going to read some of mine, and I want you to take some time today, 5 to 10 minutes, write down some messages that you might be believing. So I feel sometimes when we write stuff down, it helps us to be more aware of it, and it helps us to be able to process it, right? So the one of them that I put, so for example, they put, women must look good at all times, or wrinkles and cellulite are unattractive. We know in this day and age that even though it may still be, joked about or whatever, men don't care about none of that, y'all. Men do not care nothing about no cellulite. And if they do, they need to grow up. But 9 times out of 10, the men ain't looking at that. It's us that be worried about all of those things. Yes, it is important for us to love us for ourselves. So if you don't want cellulite for you, perfect. But we're women, and some of us have kids or, weight up and down things. So it doesn't make you unattractive is the thing. So if that's something that you are worried about, don't believe it. You have to feel good on the inside. That material stuff is just trash, okay? We all want to look good on the outside. I get it. However, that does not determine your worth. So that's like the example of what they're talking about. Number 1 that I put, a woman must have, this was my belief, a woman must have perfect, plump butt and boobs to hold men's attention. This was especially in the Black culture. We've seen videos and performances and just, it was just a stigma. I mean, still kind of is to this day that, you got to have a big booty to attract a man. Now, although I still like how I look with it, I know that does not determine my value, and true love does not have to have a booty. You know what I'm saying? So that's just an example. Number 2 is women must be confident and have it together at all times to remain attractive. Although confidence is very, very attractive, it's not that just because you're not confident doesn't make you not attractive. There is something to be said about somebody who walks through, a room or into a situation with that confidence, but you have to still believe in and love in yourself in order to have that confidence. Also, I actually have a 10 steps on how to build confidence in a video, and I'll link that up above so that you can go check that out if you are struggling with confidence. Number 3, women must appear mean, aloof, or non-committal to keep their man interested. To be honest, this is one that I still struggle with. It is said, because I have a big heart, I'm easygoing, I do not let myself be walked over. Like, I have a voice, I stand up, I speak my mind. However, I am not mean, and I don't play hard to get. I say what I feel. I act on the love that I want to give. And sometimes that has led me to be taken advantage of. And I've tried to be mean. I try to act like I don't care. It's just not me. I'm 42 years old, and I don't like to do it. And I've come to the point where if I'm not being myself, then I can't do it, because I can't compromise who I am and what I am for society's ways, because it's not me. I end up unhappy, I end up hiding myself, and then it eventually comes out. And if that person doesn't like who I am to the core, I don't need them. Honestly, I don't need them. So if you can't handle the fact that I'm just not mean, and I get it, like it's, some men like to chase or whatever, but you got to find other stuff to be interested in. If I got to be mean to you, I mean, don't get me wrong, I get my attitudes, I get mean. I'm just not naturally a mean person, though. I'm I like to say I'm sweet. Some people might beg to differ, but I don't play. But I'm not mean or aloof. I don't play hard to get. That's just whack to me. I know some people do it because of trauma. Some people do it because it's a game, mind game. It's time out for that. I don't do none of that. Never have and never will. I don't need to now, though, because I'm blessed. Women must be more accepting or viewed as selfish. I know probably everybody has dealt with this. If you do for you, then you're viewed as selfish. If you have, like, y'all can't even explain. This is a whole video in itself, okay? There's nothing wrong with being accepting or compromising or being generous, but you are allowed to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're allowed to put yourself first sometimes, because if you don't, you're going to give so much of yourself away that you're not going to be able to give to nobody else, because you're going to be burned out, feeling unappreciated, everything. Like, you have to look out for yourself too. Not only, but two. And sometimes you are allowed to put yourself first. A lot of times, put yourself first sometimes, okay? So, you are not selfish, sis, or brother, because you have put yourself first. You have to understand that. Last one. If women have take charge behaviors, they're automatically perceived as controlling. I have dealt with this a lot. I know other people have. Some people are controlling, or sometimes you may be more controlling than what you think. You have to kind of like be self-aware to kind of process that. How do you really work through that? It is hard to not be controlling sometimes, especially with your kids, or especially if you have people that don't really take charge. But just because it's a slippery slope. But the stigma is, if women have take charge behaviors, they're viewed as controlling. And that's not the case. You really have to look at the character of the person. Why is the person taking charge? Has that person tried several things? In my experience, there has been things where I've had conversations. I've had, conversations, discussions, and we try to do it other ways. But at the end of the day, if something doesn't get done, or if something needs to be done and it's really important, if I take charge, and that's my personality too. So my personality is not controlling, but if you have unresolved trauma or issues or anger within you, or if you have people that you dealt with before that were controlling, and so my behaviors seem to be similar, that's not necessarily the case. And that's with relationships, friends, whatever the case may be. You have to really look at that person's character and determine, is this person really controlling? And if that seems like too much to do, then that's just too much to do. But everything ain't just always how it is, like, for face value. Like, does that make sense? I don't know, I might be confusing it, but just saying, people that just have take charge behaviors don't necessarily mean they're controlling. You need to look within yourself, look at the situation, and look at the person, and really determine, like, okay, what is this? If you have more questions about that, feel free we could talk about it on another live. Hopefully I'll have some people on there. But yeah, so anyway, I see how we just talked through that, and then that was one page. And if you write those things down, I think it really helps you determine that, the things that are causing you to the things that we are looking at to determine self-worth. And that's not it, sis or sir, whoever's watching. Yeah, so there's other things in here, called bathing suit blues. It's about visualization, getting to know yourself. So yeah, we're going to go through this next week. I'll hopefully have a premiere on this. They'll have, like, part 4 is on find self-compassion. And then let's see, sorry. I was about to be done, but now I'm looking at, I want to go through all of this. I ain't gonna do that. We're gonna go through some stuff next week. That was part of part 2. Hopefully I'll take you through step 1, and look out, put the bell on, turn your notifications on so that you cannot miss my live videos. I'm gonna try to do this on Saturdays, try to have premieres so that you guys can know. I'm not gonna ramble on and on and on. Go get your book and join me so that we can get back to our happy place, guys. Love you guys. Turn your bell on, notifications, like and subscribe if you like what you see. Love you. Bye, rock stars.